Hi, okay, this is gonna be a story time as to why I will never, ever, 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 ever stay in an Airbnb in Italy ever again, specifically Naples. So about a year and a half ago, I really want to go to Europe. I had never been before, and my two friends were like, oh, I'm down. So I said, bet, let's do it. Mention we're all girls, so that's very important. Anyways, we finally get to Naples, and we go to our Airbnb, and our host is waiting there, and he's like outside the door, so we're like, okay, that's kind of weird. And he's like, hey, I just want to let you know, a pipe burst, but like we fixed everything, everything's good to go. And we're like, okay, cool. So we go inside, everything's cool. He's like, hey, I'm gonna go get you guys like snacks, water. So we're like, that's kind of weird, but I think he was overcompensating. So he drops the snacks off, we're out all day, we come back, take showers, and tell me why the floor flooded, like literally an inch off the floor. And I call him and he doesn't answer, and I'm like, what the heck? I need to get this water off the floor. But at that point I was over it, we were all over it, we just slept because we were only there for a day. And then he was like, hey, I'm so sorry, like I'll give you a refund, and never got the refund. We end up going to the Amalfi Coast for a couple days.
She goes so hard, like a million miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then rather than take a breath, she just cuts to the clip and just goes again. That's hard to follow. I also feel like she's like, what was actually bad that he did?
Yeah.
Like, he was trying to fix the leak.
She thought it was weird that he wanted to get them snacks and water. That's very nice of him.
Yeah, and then, you know, because he probably knew he didn't do the best job on that leak. And
Right.
was likely to, and then for one day, like, okay.
So when we land in Naples, we end up getting a taxi from the airport to our Airbnb, and so when we're driving, we like realized we're going out of the city, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of weird. Like, it was very foresty. I was like, where the frick are we? The taxi driver is literally driving, and he passes the point where it says like, oh, this is where the place is, because there was nothing there. So he like turns around and like stops in front of this mechanic shop. So we're all looking at each other. He's even confused. So there's 6 guys outside, and they're like, hey, the Airbnb is over there. So we're like, okay. And we go through this gate, and it's literally like an Airbnb inside of the mechanic shop.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
freaking out at this point, 'cause I'm like, what is this? So like we're like all trying to call our parents and like barely getting any service. But thank God my mom answered. We got a hotel. But yeah, don't trust. I'm just confused as to how no one said anything on the reviews.
Nobody mentioned it's in a mechanic shop.
That's an interesting
It
detail.
makes me feel like it's probably not that bad. And she even said it was a decent Airbnb. The only thing was the blinds didn't fully close to the mechanic shop.
Couldn't you put like, you know?
A towel over it or
Yeah.
something?
And
Mechanics aren't necessarily murders. Like, why would you be unalived?
I'm also underwhelmed by, like, I knew halfway through, like when we paused, like whatever happened to her is going to be not that big of
Yeah.
a deal. I could tell.
Definitely not.
Airbnb horror story. This is a horror story.
A wet floor, and the mechanic shop thing is weird, but she made it sound like the Airbnb itself was nice.
Yeah, and although I think that could be a plot of a low budget
It
horror
could,
movie.
yeah.
The mechanic's
Americans
a good
just tend to
murderer.
be like very untrusting. They assume people are out to get them all the time. I'm the opposite, which is probably not great, but when I'm traveling, I'm just like too trusting.